Hello everyone, I am Dr. Adoma Odame, Senior Specialist at Hope Exchange Medical Center. Today I'm bringing to you the first in a series of child safety discussions. I know somebody's wondering, why do we need to discuss child safety in a time like this? Why are we not talking about COVID 19? Why are we not talking about severe malaria or meningitis? Why child safety? The reason is simple. In times like these, when the children are at home with us for an extended period, sometimes we get tired because they are constantly running around, talking to us, talking incessantly. You go out to work, you come back, and you're exhausted, and the child wants to talk and talk and talk. So sometimes you get tired. Sometimes you just want to run and hide and get some 2 minutes of peace to gather your thoughts, to gather yourself before you come and you attend to their issues and their needs. But then you realize that during these times, the children have a lot of energy and the supervision is not as it should be. And so they end up falling into dangerous situations that end up damaging them physically or even emotionally. That's why it's so important that during these periods we talk about child safety. Now, you know that children can be divided into different age groups. We can divide them in relation to school, as in preschoolers, school age children, teenagers, etc. But for ease of our discussion, I just want us to divide them into a few groups. The babies who are not able to crawl or walk yet, that's from 0 to about maybe 6 7 months. Then those who have started crawling and walking, and then those who are now running around and playing, and then the children who are going to school, and last and not but the least are teenagers. So those are the different age categories that we're going to be talking about within this series. We're going to talk about their various needs, what should be done for them, how to protect them in the home environment during periods like these. Now you realize that based on their development, based on their age, based on what they can do and what they can't do, the risks at the home or in the home environment are different. For instance, the risk that a teenager will face are totally different from the risk that a 1 month old child would face. And it makes sense. The teenager is up and about, he's going out to see friends, to talk to friends. A colleague or a friend of his may just sit in a car and be drunk, and then they'll go and get an accident, and then your teenager may be maimed for life. But then the newborn or the 1 month old baby who's lying at a stationary place, who's lying stationary on the bed, he's not able to get up and go anywhere. So, sometimes that deceives us and makes us even think that in that case, this baby is not at risk of anything. But you'd be amazed. There's so many risks that even the baby who's just lying there on the bed is also prone to. There's so many problems that he is prone to, even as he's just lying there innocently on the bed. So it's important that you consider the age of your child, you consider what your child is able to do and what your child is not able to do, and you protect the child accordingly. Because remember that we said that the risks for an older child, a child who's walking about, are totally different from the risk of a younger child. Even when it comes to children who are moving about, there still are different risk categories because a 4-year-old who is walking about is at a different risk in the home environment from a 16-year-old. Just consider, let's say there's a swimming pool in the house. The 4-year-old can easily walk and go and fall into it and be unable to come out, and therefore he will drown. The 16-year-old may see the swimming pool, he may know how to swim. So even if he falls into the swimming pool, he may not drown unless he or she is under the influence of alcohol or something like that. So the risks are different for every single age range. But one of the important things about protecting your child in the home environment, one of the most important things is simply supervision. Supervision, supervision, supervision. Supervision is not so easy because we are busy, we are working, we have things to do. Sometimes we're tired, we just need to rest a bit. But supervision is so important if you want to be able to raise healthy children who are well adjusted and are not suffering disability as a result of injury in the home environment. So within the next couple of days, 2 weeks, we're just going to be talking about safety within the home environment, how you and I can protect our children from injury within the home environment within this COVID-19 period, and how we can even protect them from dangerous people who are around. True, sexual abuse, physical abuse is something that we'll talk about differently. But then it's also the one of the risks that you should keep in mind during this period. During COVID-19, lockdown or no lockdown, you may end up with certain people being in the home environment. Sometimes you need to leave your child in the care of a certain person that you otherwise would not have left the child with. And all these things can predispose your child to being at risk of sexual abuse. So there's so much that we're going to talk about. There's so much that we need to talk about. So I will just tell you that stay tuned and let's have some fun here. Let's talk about our children and let's see how we can keep our children safe and healthy. How we can raise a healthy future generation who will come and make the right decisions for our country. How we can raise children who will grow up to be healthy, who will not have problems as a result of the care that we gave or we didn't give to them when they were young. So stay tuned. It's a whole long series, and after this we'll talk about child abuse, then we'll talk about the severe malaria that I know you want to hear about. We'll talk about all sorts of disease conditions, and you'll be so informed by the end of the day that you probably will call me and tell me that you're graceful. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.